Africa. The year is 1324. While Europe was choking in plague and poverty, one African empire was shining brighter than gold itself. Its king was so rich that when he traveled, entire nations' economies collapsed just from his generosity. Its armies were feared, its cities glowed with knowledge, and its rulers made Europe bow, not with chains, but with power. They called it the Empire of Gold. But that name didn't belong to just one kingdom. It was the symbol of a continent that Europe tried and failed to conquer. Because before the ships, before the colonizers, before the lies, Africa had empires that ruled the world. And today, we're uncovering the story of how the kingdoms of Mali, Songhai, and Benin stood tall, and how Europe once learned to fear Africa. If you love uncovering the history they tried to hide, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to hear, they never taught you in school. It began in the blazing Sahel, a land of endless heat and endless riches. In the 13th century, Mali rose from the ashes of Ghana, uniting vast trade routes stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the sands of Arabia. Caravans carried salt, gold, ivory, and wisdom, turning deserts into highways of fortune. And at its heart stood one man, Mansa Musa, the richest human being to ever live. But his power wasn't just measured in gold. He built schools, universities, and mosques that made his empire the cultural heartbeat of the world. Every coin that glittered in Europe came from his mines. Every rumor of wealth led back to his throne. When Mansa Musa embarked on his legendary pilgrimage to Mecca, his caravan stretched across the horizon. 60,000 men, thousands of camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of gold. He gave so much of it away in Cairo that the value of gold collapsed. It took 12 years for Egypt's economy to recover. But Musa wasn't showing off. He was sending a message. Africa is power. When he returned, he turned Timbuktu into a symbol of civilization itself. The city of scholars, home to Sankore University, where thousands of manuscripts on science, medicine, and astronomy were written long before Europe's Renaissance even began. While kings in Europe fought over scraps, Musa built a world of prosperity and learning. And that world inspired others. After Mali came Songhai, a kingdom forged by warriors who refused to fade into history. They took Mali's legacy and turned it into something even greater. The Songhai Empire rose with fire and strategy. Its cavalry thundered across the desert, fearless, disciplined, and unstoppable. They didn't just conquer, they organized. Cities like Gao and Timbuktu became hubs of trade, knowledge, and diplomacy. Under Askia the Great, Songhai built one of the largest empires in African history, stretching from the Atlantic coast to the edge of the Sahara. He introduced systems of government, justice, and taxation so advanced that European visitors couldn't believe Africans created them. European merchants learned respect the hard way, pay tribute or perish in the sands. They wanted Africa's gold, but Songhai guarded it fiercely. Their message was simple: you may have cannons, but we have unity. While Europe was still crawling out of its dark ages, Africa was writing laws, minting coins, and building universities. But not all of Africa's glory burned in the desert. Deep in the lush forests of West Africa stood Benin, a city so sophisticated it shattered every European myth about savages. When the Portuguese arrived in the 1400s, they were stunned. Benin's streets were paved and clean. Its architecture followed precise mathematical grids. Its people were educated, organized, and proud. And towering above them was their divine ruler, the Oba of Benin, a leader whose word was law, whose power reached from the palace walls to the gods themselves. The city was encircled by massive earthen walls, longer than the Great Wall of China, built by human hands over centuries. Inside stood bronze sculptures so detailed that centuries later, Europe's best artists couldn't replicate them. Each one told stories of kings, warriors, and ancestors, preserving history in metal and fire. European traders begged for trade, gold, ivory, art. But Benin decided what left its gates and what didn't. They controlled the flow of wealth. And when Europe tried to force their hand, Benin's warriors answered with steel. The empire stood strong for over 400 years, a symbol of order, discipline, and defiance. But then, the tide changed. Europe's hunger grew. Gold was no longer enough. They wanted domination. They came not as traders, but as invaders. The Songhai faced guns imported from Morocco, weapons that tore through their cavalry. Benin's proud walls were bombarded by British fire. Mali's glory faded, its knowledge scattered, its libraries burned. And yet, none of these empires fell because they were weak. They fell because they were betrayed. Europe came with diplomacy in one hand and destruction in the other. They called it civilization, but what they brought was greed, division, and chains. But the legacy didn't die. The manuscripts of Timbuktu survived. The bronzes of Benin still speak. The stories of Mansa Musa, Askia the Great, and the Obas still echo through time. Because here's the truth they won't tell you. These weren't just African kingdoms. They were world powers. Their wealth changed global economies. Their knowledge fueled revolutions. Their art inspired generations. Before the Renaissance, there was Timbuktu. Before Europe's kings, there were the Obas. Before civilization, there was empire. So the next time someone says Africa was conquered, remember this. Africa was never lost. Its story was stolen. And now, we're taking it back. If this story moved you, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and help more people see the truth history tried to erase. Because this is just the beginning.